Welcome to another episode of Scene Conversations where we talk about life, faith, identity, purpose, and leadership. I got a very special guest here with me today. This is my oldest daughter, Jada Bartee. How you doing today?
I'm doing good. How are you?
Doing well. It's Friday. We
Yes.
made it.
Hmm.
How's my grandboys doing?
Good. Growing every day, and they're both keeping me on my toes, but I love seeing them grow together.
Yeah, yeah, that's my heart there. So, I want to have a quick discussion with you about the father-daughter dynamic. I feel like that's very important to have those conversations. I did a similar episode with your younger sister Malia a few months ago, and I wanted to give us the same opportunity to have just a straightforward conversation. Nothing too crazy, and we'll kind of go from there. Tell us a little bit about your childhood in terms of yours and my relationship. How were things between you and I?
For me, I feel like for the longest time we were really close because it was not that I was the only child, but um, I was the only child in house for a majority of the time until Leah came around. So for me, I feel like I got spoiled a lot. I got a lot of love, a lot of attention. It was a super fun childhood. Uh, really, it's the childhood that I want for my kids.
Yeah.
It's the best childhood, really.
So you were the child where I had to learn how to plait hair and do all the things. Me and your mom, we worked different shifts, so uh, I had you quite a bit of time. When you were smaller. So yeah, you turned me into a hairstylist back in the day. When do you feel like you were the most loved by me?
I would say I definitely felt a lot of love in my childhood, but it stands out a lot to me more now for what you do for me in adulthood. Because I feel like adulthood, you really people may feel like that's not when parenting happens the most, but from the child end, I feel like that is kind of when you need your parents the most. And you always show up for me, whether it's for me, for the kids, anything that we have going on, even me giving birth both times, like you were always there. There's never been a time when you weren't there. Um, so yeah.
Was there ever a time that you felt unseen or misunderstood by me?
Mm, When seen and misunderstood, you know, I feel like if I felt that way, it was pretty open to where I could come to you and try and get you to see it from my point of view. I wouldn't say misunderstood. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so that's one of the things that me and your mom has tried to do is have that open communication and dialogue and give you and your sister and even your brother, an opportunity to just be transparent with us. I feel like that's healthy,
Hmm.
for kids to be able to express themselves so that they don't grow up kind of having things bottled up. So my prayer is that when you guys got older that you always knew that you could tell us anything, so we can deal with whatever the circumstance or situation is together, So that was always the goal.
Yeah.
So looking back now as an adult, has your perspective of me changed in any way?
Um, I say in a good way as far as sacrifices go, because there's a lot of sacrifices that as a kid you don't know that your parents are making for simple things. I mean, it could be something like after school events, after school things, they cost extra money. But there could be millions of sacrifices that your parent is making just to make you happy. And so since I'm on the flip side of it now, I definitely appreciate you for that and definitely applaud you and mom for the sacrifices that you all made for all three of us. Because parenting is hard.
Yeah.
It's rewarding, but it's hard.
Yeah, so that goes back to that old saying, don't try to grow up too soon or try to be
Mm-hmm.
an adult too fast because you're gonna find out one day that
Be a kid
you
again.
know what I mean? Wish you was a kid again because, parenting, being an adult, a young adult is tough. You're still trying to figure out who you are. And when you have children, at an early age as well, They're blessings, right? But you still got to navigate through that because now they're your responsibility, and you got to make sure that they're good as well. So, uh, speaking of that, how is it being a parent?
Love being a parent. I feel like I have the best example of both a mom and dad of what to do and how to be a parent. So I feel like I have the perfect blueprint for my kids. Of course, my kids are different, so I may have to approach things differently. But I love parenting. It's I wouldn't say my identity because I do have my own personal identity, but it is my favorite title personally, outside of being a wife, of course.
Yeah, and you're amazing mom, by the way.
Thank
You
you.
know, I can see, those little boys, they love you to death, and it's evident, even when Naeem is here, he's the older one. He's constantly asking, although I'm spoiling the devil, is mommy, daddy,
Yeah.
So y'all both do a great job with raising the grandbabies. So
Thank you.
what are some qualities you hope that your own children would get from me from a legacy standpoint?
Mm. From a legacy standpoint, definitely being true to themselves. Your legacy is only as truthful and as honest as you are. So definitely I hope that my kids, no matter how old they get, no matter what circumstances go on around them, that they stay true to who they are and not the people around them. Also your strength, because I feel like legacy, I feel like people when they hear that they're thinking monetary or like what can I leave a house? Can I leave businesses and things like that? But to me, it's way more than that. It's what did my papa or my granddaddy show me? What was the practices or the things of life that he taught me? What was the activities that we went out doing? Like to me, it's just I hope they get your strength, your resilience, and I pray that they stay true to themselves.
That's real. Thank you. As my daughter, um, what do you think people must misunderstood the most about me?
Um, I feel like when people see you, they probably would assume or can see a tough shell. But really, I feel like once you get to know you, you're literally like the softest and the most hilarious person on earth. Like, I feel like once they get past the exterior, or just people can just judge. So I feel like once they get past the hard part of you, it's the best person in the world.
Yeah, so that's one of the things I've been really trying to work on with this scene movement that I have is, sometimes we wear masks
Mhm.
as human beings, and I've had my own stories as a young man, a kid, young man, growing up, and I've worked really hard with removing that mask. And I think it's so important to be your authentic self and uh, just be who you are, right?
Mhm.
So. Thank you for being honest about that. That's one thing that I've realized about myself, and we definitely getting there for sure. You would never, back in the day, catch me on the screen like this,
Yeah.
being as open and honest as I am, and that's because God is making me. He's pulling me in a direction to take the mask off, like
Mhm.
1,000%. So uh, it has helped me along my journey. It's definitely been more freeing to just let some things go. And when you realize that, you really start to take that mask off and you become a better person because you got nothing to lose at this point, you know what I mean? And when you understand what your purpose is and your identity, you really do start to pay it forward.
Mhm.
And you literally become a better person because you understand who you are and where you come from. And I've said it a million times, God knows my name.
Mhm.
He knows my story. It's already written.
Mhm.
I got to be faithful and follow that path at this point. So, yeah. So we kind of talked about your experience with me as a father. We talked about grandbabies, legacy. Do you have any questions that you would like to ask me? I like to flip it around a little bit.
Mm. Is there anything? Was a daughter I can do to improve? And is there anything or any advice as a mom or parent in general that you could give me, especially for this time when my kids are little? I know it's, it parenting changes as they grow, but just some advice for the little.
Yeah, so one thing I could tell you first off to answer the first part of your question, no, there's nothing you can improve to be my daughter. You are who you are, and I love every bit of you. So you just keep being the best version of you. And as far as parenting advice, one thing I'll tell you is there's no blueprint to it, right?
Mhm.
The best blueprint you got is the Bible, right? So stay in the Word, uh, stay in the Word, listen to God's ear, be the best mother you could possibly be. Show up for your kids, when they need you, whether they're 1 years old all the way up to the end of the world, end of time. So always be there. Sometimes you're not going to always agree with the decisions that your kids make, but you still got to be there and be supportive of them when you need them. Because sometimes they gotta bump their head on their own, right?
Mhm.
Don't be a crutch for your children. That's what I would say. Teach them responsibility. Teach them accountability. Teach them ownership. And let them learn from their mistakes. Right?
Mhm.
You can teach your kids all the things in the world, but they gotta understand when they get to a certain age that it's their responsibility to fix their mistake, learn from it, don't wallow in it, but just keep moving forward. So I think if you do that, you guys will be just fine. You know what I mean? What other question you got from?
Oh, how can I not ask this question? What about marital advice? Because I mean, I'm not even a year in married. Um, we've been together for a while, but marriage is different. It's a different commitment. Um, and so is there any like marriage advice?
Yeah, I would say so. Me and your mom will be married 28 years. Actually, this time next month, so it's
Mhm.
coming up quick. I would say communication is probably the most important thing to do outside of keeping God first, right?
Mhm.
Keep God first, then your marriage, and keep that open communication open. Don't go silent on each other. Don't go to bed angry. All those things. Try to talk it out, hash it out. Be willing to listen, right? Listen to hear and understand versus listening to respond. Because a lot of times we get caught up in having to win,
Mhm.
right? You're anticipating what your spouse is going to say at times, and you want that get back
Mhm.
because they done pissed you off or whatever the case may be. So listen to respond, right? Not, excuse me, listen to understand, not respond.
Right.
Let me get that right. I got twisted in my words. Uh, yeah, and I think if you keep the communication and dialogue open, and I would say also stay committed, right?
Mhm.
You know, be reasonable with each other. You know what I mean? Keep you got to be your best self too. I would say invest in yourself, right? Because you're no good to your husband if you're struggling yourself. So you got to try to become the best whole person you could possibly be. A lot of times people say, uh, it's 50-50 and all that. No, that's 100-100, meaning that you both should be striving to be the best people you can be, and then you're coming together as one to make that thing happen.
Mhm.
Right? And sometimes there's gonna be times where you're gonna be at 70%, he's gonna be at 30. You know what I mean? And vice versa.
Mhm.
So just be there for each other. Is what I'm getting at there. You know, I've had surgeries before, right? Your mom's had some medical issues before. And those are the true times where your spouse is gonna show up for you. Not when everything is good,
Mhm.
but when there's times where things are not good, whether it's financially, whether it's, you know, health wise, whether it's work wise, all those things, that's what in sickness and in health, to death do us part. All those vows that you took, that's where those kind of come into play. Everything's always easy when it's good.
Right.
But the real true test of your marriage is gonna be when things are not. So
Straight advice.
yeah. Any more questions?
Well, I don't think I have any questions.
All right. Well, I thank you for spending some time with me today. Daddy loves you always. I'll always be
So,
there for you. Uh, Give me a hug. Love you. All right.
so,
All right. Thank y'all for tuning in tonight to another episode of Scene Conversations. You can go check me out at im-scene.com. im-scene.com. I'm on all social media platforms: YouTube, Facebook, LinkedIn, Instagram. Thanks for spending some time with us. This is Steve Miller. I'm out.
which
Peace.
is